Guys, this is the third time I'm freaking recording. Today's gonna be like a throwback video. You remember, actually, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, I got no script, no notes, just a lot of feelings that I had to talk about on the internet because my friends literally didn't care. And every time I tried to talk about them, another thing would happen because there was just so much drama and messiness going on. And that's what it feels like today. Every time I think, you know what, that's it, that's all I gotta talk about, another thing happens, and another thing. So you know what, you're just gonna get my thoughts on the crazy things first, and then you're gonna get the original plan, which was just talking about the Evgenia Medvedeva interview, where she literally talks about how her back grew in such a messed up way that it infused because she was always working through injuries in a way that now she can't turn to her left. Like, do you know how insane that is? She's 20. She is so young. And you know what? I'll save those thoughts for later in the video, which I've already recorded. But let's talk about the things that have interrupted that video from being posted. Two minor but also major things is one, we're getting reports that Alexandra Trusova is finally back on the ice. She says that she's recovering and she's already training. I'm sure it's probably at a low level, but the most important thing, she says, is to prepare well for Russian nationals, which is basically a trial for the Olympics, which are probably in limbo as well right now. I will talk about that later on in the video. But that's number one. And then number two, we had Miss Alyssa Liu doing a very iconic live stream on Instagram, which has had just so much conversation. The main thing that got everybody scared is that Alyssa Liu kind of joked about her like not being a figure skater. Like, people kept asking her like figure skating questions. She's like, I don't do that anymore, like I don't care, like I don't want to do that. I'm paraphrasing, but like something about that. And she was very obviously like trolling or just being, you know, facetious, hyperbolic. She's a teenager, she will do that. But she also said other shady comments about other, you know, skaters, or not said, but you know, maybe pointed out some comments that said it. Anyway, Alyssa Liu is still the number one lady, and there's no way she is not going to go to the Olympics if they still happen. So everybody calm down. Alyssa Liu is just a teen. And now, the main thing that made me say I have to record a new entire section for this video, because this is probably the main thing that everybody's talking right now, is that the woman, the legend, the wife of Evgeny Plushenko, of the Angels of Plushenko, Yana Rudkovskaya, the queen of the mess. Terry might be the queen of the ice in terms of ladies field, but the queen of the mess is Ms. Yana Rudkovskaya. She always has a clapback, and oh my god, did she drop an interview of interviews. If I thought Evgenia's comments were controversial to the point where Terry's still not liking them Instagrams, well, girl, Terry might be doing something worse to Yana than not liking her post on Instagrams after this interview. So you know what, let's just go through it, because I cannot paraphrase the words of the queen of the mess. Basically, what triggered her to talk to the press in a very lengthy manner was that Tatiana Tarasova was defending Eteri Tutberidze, because now Eteri Tutberidze is basically the head of the Russian Federation, it seems. Nothing she can do no wrong. Kamila Valieva gets perfect fives, whatever she does. And somebody asked them to compare Evgeny Plushenko and Eteri Tutberidze, and Tatiana Tarasova responded in a Tatiana Tarasova way, which was blasphemy. This is ridiculous to even talk about. Eteri is an outstanding coach. Zhenya, which is Evgeny Plushenko, is a beginner coach. Maybe Rudkovskaya decided, Rudkovskaya is his wife, so she got the wife in the mess now, decided that it would be more useful for promotion. But this is wrong. This is ridiculous. What is there to talk about? Zhenya has been working for the first year. He does not understand that it is not words to decide. It's work, actions decide here. When he understands it, it will be too late. But she has already ruined a lot for him. Oh wait, she's talking about Evgeny. She's talking about Yana regarding Evgeny Plushenko's career as a coach. I see that he works well, and I say this. Then Tarasova also talked about the lack of potential that Yana Rudkovskaya's son with Evgeny Plushenko has, saying that I don't see it yet, he skates very well. I think they need to keep silent for a little bit. Stay silent for about 2 years. And then, of course, the entire press was after Yana Rudkovskaya. And you know what, let's just go through it. Let's do this. Back in the day, back in the day, back when there were only 12 people commenting and maybe 1,000 people watching the video. Yana Rudkovskaya says, we just came back from Italy, where Evgeny's show was taking place, and in the morning the journalists were calling endlessly. At first I did not want to comment, but then I decided to answer on all the items. It seems that this will be the correct way. First of all, the words of Tatiana Tolivena shocked me. To be honest, well, since my name is mentioned, and even in such a context, then I will answer. Regarding luring athletes, no one lured Trusova or Kostornaia. Remember that Trusova Kostornaia were part of the Great Migration away from Tutberitsa after the Zhilina sisters. If Trusova had not gone to us, the Angels of Plushenko, she would have gone to other coaches. That is something that was reported and now, is being stated as fact, that she was going to go regardless. Because, as we know, Team Tutberitsa breaks freaking bodies, and I think Trusova, much like her story still is kind of echoing a bit too much of Evgenia's, and I think she was trying to get ahead of it, but going to Plushenko didn't work, so she ended up coming back, and even yet, she still has the same basic injury, basically the same type of injury that Evgenia Medvedeva had back in the Olympics. And remember, Trusova's trying to get that gold, especially Trusova's dad is trying to get that gold, so they were trying to do everything to prevent that, but history, as of yet, is still repeating itself. Tatiana Tarasova should know this. This is really just slyness. It is not my secret, so I can't say which other coaches exactly Trusova was going to go to, but they were considered several people. If Evgeny had not taken her, then she would have had several backup options. This means that she would have gone to another coach. Tarasova is very aware of whom she would have switched to, if not to Evgeny. Would that also be considered luring? Or would it just be a change of coach? Then Kostornaia was brought to us by Sergei Rosanov, which, oh my god, somebody protect this child. And Zerosha, Sergei Rosanov, was brought to us by Trusova. You see the mess? Trusova came on the condition that Sergei Rosanov, previously known as Hot Sergei, would come to the Angels of Plushenko. One of the conditions that she put there because she was trying to get that triple axel, which Sergei Rosanov was instrumental in her getting. Then Sergei Rosanov decided to bring Kostornaia for hopefully the correct reasons, and then all hell broke loose. But let's continue reading the story. Sergei Rosanov was brought by Trusova. They asked to take him to the team. I did not believe that my husband and his team did nothing for Sasha. She became a bronze medalist at the senior Russian nationals and the bronze medalist of the World Championships. For far, this is the highest achievement in sports. If Sasha had listened to Evgeny and everything at the World Championships, she would have become the world champion. Okay, now she's blaming Trusova, which, still very much a Terry tactic, Yana. Evgeny and his team think so too, and I cannot help but agree with them. Tarasova said that my husband has been working as a coach for just a year. Why is this misleading to the audience? He's been working for 4 years as a co-owner of the academy, and I see that the 3 junior girls at the Grand Prix are finalists. Half of the girls that qualified for the finals are Angels of Plushenko. They have nothing to do with Tutberitsa. That is Zinina, Zhilina, and Murovyova. And she is correct. However, as the reporter states, the Zhilina sisters came as part of the Great Migration from Tutberitsa to the Angels of Plushenko. And so the reporter says, Zhilina trained with Eteri Georgievna. And Yana responds, Tutberitsa has never coached her. Everything Veronika Zhilina can do was taught by her mother, whatever, who also works with our team now. And then Sergei Rosanov coached her for a while, which it's true that itty bitties at Team Tutberitsa for a long time were coached by Sergei Rosanov, which is why he was instrumental in the careers of probably also Sherpakova, but Kostornaia and Trusova in them getting all their jumps, because he was their main coach, while Tutberitsa worked with, the seniors, which at the time were Medvedeva, Sagitova, etc. We also have Kirill Sarvnovsky. He is a Grand Prix finalist. He trains with us for 3 years with his younger brother and sister. And here's another example. Tutberitsa kicked out Sofia Titova at the age of 8. She said that she was unfit for the group. Now Titova is 12, and Evgenia has been working with her for 4 years. And Titova beat all of the young girls of Tutberitsa. She started the jumps, the triple axel in competitions, and made a combination of quadruple toe loop plus double toe loop. This is an indicator that Evgenia and his team are working. Yes, we all understand that Evgenia is a beginner coach. We do not argue about this matter. But I don't think Tutberitsa is the greatest coach. The greatest coaches are Mishin, Mosvina, Zuk, Tarasova, Tachkiova, Tachkiovskaya, whatever, I butchered that name. But this is precisely why Tutberitsa is trying to expand herself into other disciplines and also get success in other disciplines, because the great coaches of Russia are exceptional in multiple disciplines. And until she does that, people will always have this argument that she's not one of the greatest coaches because she could only excel in the ladies for a very, very niche section, which is 13 to 18. That is it, which is why she gets so angry, Tutberitsa, when they call her a junior coach, because, all of her stars never reach past their teenage years, which is a new phenomenon, which a lot of people think was accelerated by the Tutberitsa team. Tutberidze is an excellent coach. She has super team and they do a great job, but Tutberidze will not become the greatest coach. Well, Tutberidze will only become the greatest coach when her athletes will not just be 1 Olympics, but 2, 3, and 4. And I mean, I guess she got a point. She has to prove herself for more than 1 Olympic cycle, which I believe she will, but we'll see. Yana continues. This is my opinion, and it has a right to exist. Karen energy. Since I have been related to figure skating for many years now, remember Yana Rudkovskaya is not even a figure skater. She's just married to Plushenko. She's known as a producer, like a music producer, and then she's also very Kardashian-esque, which she like first gained national fame in Russia for like dating a very powerful man in politics, and then became like an influencer. She's literally like a brand ambassador for Dior, I think. And she also got a deal for Plushenko to be for Porsche. So very much influencer lifestyle. Don't forget. We might think that, he's a buffoon and that, Eurovision guy and all these names for Evgeny Plushenko, but they try to present a very different image in the press in Russia. Anyways, I've been related to figure skating for many years, and I know a lot of things, but I don't consider it necessary to say so far. Explain to me what is so great about a conveyor belt of female athletes, practically children, who do not have senior careers in sports. Oh, if she could. Shots fired. As a mother of a boy athlete, okay? Wife of an athlete who is now a coach. I would like my child to have a long career in sports like my husband had. And I don't want them to retire from sports at the age of 15. We see Yulia Lipnitskaya, who works with us, which, that explains a lot. Yulia Lipnitskaya, who is the kind of very first star of Tutberidze, to this day has nothing good to say about Tutberidze, to the point where she now works for the Angels of Plushenko. And then Alina Sagitova and Evgenia Medvedeva, y'all know that story. The girls did not go to second games, as did, for example, Ira Zutskaya, Yuna Kim, or Mao Sara. But see, that argument's a little bit different because it was such a different time back then. Like, the sport has just gone crazy when it comes to ladies. But anyways, if we're talking about the greatness of coaches, then this, of course, is Alexei Nikolaevich Mishin, who went through 4 Olympics with my husband and has brought the country 4 medals with 1 single athlete. Lisa Tuktamisheva, at the age of 25, will try to qualify for the Olympics and compete with 15-year-old Kamila Valieva, and therefore the whole world will cheer for her. This is overcoming. She is closer than ever to her dream, and she, by the way, is also a Grand Prix finalist. And there I think she making points. She do be making points. Like, Mishin is truly the single coach who is kind of keeping athletes intact and kind of maintaining at least, well, if you don't count Moksvina, who has a monopoly in pairs, but Mishin is the only coach across disciplines who's continuously bringing, at least in Russia, a bunch of athletes who have high caliber. Mikhail Kolyada, we're waiting on you. Anyways, the interviewer says, this is clear. Then there were words about Plushenko and Yagurin. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into Yagurin and Plushenko rivalry. That was the original Sagitova versus Mirova, and it was way messier and it was way more clownery and they said a lot of words to each other. Y'all can Google that. But basically, she talks about their rivalry. She continues, she does say though, I respect Tatiana Tarasova as a coach, but I do not understand her abrupt change of opinion. 2 years ago, my husband stood up for her when Tutberidze's team humiliated her in the comments on Team Tutberidze's Instagram. And if you don't remember what that is back in the last holidays. Why are the holidays so messy? What's going on? What does December bring out to these Russians? Last holidays, when they were all making those shady comments about Alina Sagitova's career, Tutberidze went out and attacked all of them. She attacked Mishin, she attacked Plushenko, and she attacked Tatiana Tarasova because Tatiana Tarasova was siding with Medvedeva. Like she said, this was the era where Tutberidze couldn't keep Medvedeva's name out of her mouth. Like, Tutberidze does not talk to the press, but when she does, she makes sure to shade Medvedeva. Poor Evgenia Medvedeva, who's just, well, poor not. She's actually living her best life. Live your life, queen. Love ya. But if you don't remember, she basically told Tatiana Tarasova that the only reason she was saying shady stuff to Alina was because she still liked Medvedeva better. Anyways, Plushenko defended her back then, as Yana says. They say do not meddle. There would be better to have less of your love and care. That is basically what Tutberidze told to Tatiana. To say that I ruined something for my husband, it is impossible to ruin something for him. He has great results with juniors, and I still believe that the arrival of Aliona and Sasha was a strategic mistake. And I think there she has a point. They could not take them both at the same time. That kind of ruined their whole plan. They really could have been the rival camp, which would have been amazing to see. I honestly was rooting for Angels Lopushenko to kind of hold their ground with Trusova at least, so that it wouldn't just be Tutberidze monopoly. Anyways, the same dividing of the ice and the coaches between them. Evgeny hardly ever coached Kostornaia. Remember that Trusova and Kostornaia could not even see each other when they exited the building. That's how high tensions were, or at least it was reported, and now it's been confirmed by the queen of mess herself, Yana Rudkovskaya. So the interviewer says, wait, but I remember that Angels of Plushenko wrote on Instagram that Plushenko and Rozanov are coaching her together. Yana Rudkovskaya says, Evgeny coached Aliona for only a month and a half, and when Sasha made the demand, Sasha, not her father, Sasha, probably her father, but Sasha, Trusova made the demand to choose either she or Kostornaia, my husband chose her. Because of course he did. In principle, when athletes make such demands, I do agree with Tutberidze, with Evgenia Medvedeva, it doesn't do any good. So Sergei Rozanov worked with Aliona. I mean, he had to. He brought Aliona and now nobody else wants to touch her because Trushenko literally can't unless he wants to get punched in the face by Trusova's dad. Or what other coach does she have? So Aliona, who was brought by Rozanov, Rozanov just had to succeed. And if he didn't, his job was on the line, and we all know how that turned out. Both Aliona and Sasha did not have a sparring part. Evgeny came, helped, gave advice, but Aliona trained very little. And I think that's a good point that we never thought about. Trusova and Aliona basically trained by themselves on the ice, which is sometimes good, I guess, if you use Ruhanyu, but for the girls of Team Tutberidze, one of the main keys of success at that camp is the pressure cooker, is the intensity of having your rival train right next to you and you see her do good, so you want to do even better. They didn't have that in Angels Lopushenko. The pressure was not there. They were being treated like royalty to the point where Trusova could make demands of it's either me or her. And then Aliona was injured, as we're going to see right now, and they both had the ice completely to themselves. There was nobody really forcing them. The pressure to succeed wasn't coming externally on the ice every day as they had it at the Tutberidze camp. And I think that is one of the secret ingredients at Tutberidze's camp, is that you're replaceable. The girl next to you is ready to take your place. You see the little juniors? They are going to take your place because the Tutberidze strategy is use you. I don't want to say abuse, but the Tutberidze strategy is basically train you so hard and not stop for any injuries to the point where your freaking spine is infused in such a way that you can't turn left. And that is a real example, as we will talk about after this interview. My poor baby Medvedeva. Anyways, they talk about Aliona. Her back hurt a lot. The doctors forbade a lot of training. Why is everyone so silent about this? She had COVID, a complication, a viral sore throat. She practically did not train at full strength. It's difficult to talk about a full season for Kostornaia, not because Sergei Rozanov is a bad coach, but because she was ill all season. In total, she probably only trained at full strength for 2 months. 4 of them she was completely ill. She came to us without an axle, and now 10 months have passed, and so far we have not seen a single clean axle at competition. Aliona is 18 years old, not 15. Not everything is as simple as everyone would like. I will be sincerely glad if she succeeds. She is a very talented girl, and I'm very sorry that Evgeny could not train her. Very sorry. I do wonder if the conditions were different, if Trusova and Kostornaia were besties, which I doubt. That can happen in such a pressure cooker that you can have, a bestie like that. Comes to direct rivals, especially moving to a new camp. But I do wonder if they had, been in good health, trained next to each other, and both kind of followed the mission way of training, which is how Evgeny coaches, if they would have actually improved. Who knows? We will never know. Then the interviewer wants to touch on the comments on her son, and now we're gonna get heated. How do you comment on the fact that Yana Trusova does not see potential or a sporting future for your son? She says Sasha. Her son is Sasha because Alexander and Alexander have the same nickname, Sasha. Sasha is only 8 years old. He has all the combination, double jumps. He just started double jump axel and broke his arm, but I think he will recover within a month. Boys generally develop more slowly in sports than girls, but last year he did not lose a single competition, being the youngest of the participants in all. So it depends on whom to compare him with. She does not see, but Alexei Mission sees. Elena Takchevskaya sees. Brian Orser sees. I don't know where he came from. Rafael Artunian sees. Nikolai Morozov sees. My husband and his entire team sees. These opinions are authoritative for me. The opinion of Tatiana Tarasova is authoritative for someone, but not for me. Shots fired. Since she did not raise my husband and has nothing to do with my family, her opinion about my child is not fundamental. Sasha is only at the very beginning of his journey. That is true. He has everything ahead. I know that if my son works hard and does not have problem with injuries, he will become a very good athlete. And here is where she drops the mic, guys. Get ready. I would not want my son to finish his career at the age of 15 to 17, as often happened in one well-known's coaching staff with girls. Moreover, super talented girls. She really said to Twitter, not only do you not know how to coach girls, but you're ruining the talent of the country. She really just said that. They now do shows and host TV shows. All right, you don't have to come for my girl Medvedeva. She's doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. But I am sure they would like to stay in the sport and skate and stand on the podium. Let's see how many girls will be able to stay after the Beijing Olympics and compete with the current juniors, who will soon enter the senior competitions. Again, she do be making points, guys. I don't know. Let's remember this interview and look in 4 years. Who will be able to go to the games of 2026 from the current team? I think that the only one that's stubborn enough, not talented enough, not anything enough, but stubborn enough, which also reminds me of Medvedeva, is Sasha Trusova. And if only to fulfill all the promises they made to get her back. And this is a comment that nobody's really focusing on, but all the promises that they made to get her back. That means that they assured Trusova and her dad probably that if they come back, they will definitely not only get the wishful gold medal or any Olympic medal, silver or gold, because, Kamila Valieva is kind of Superman right now, but that her career will persist beyond Beijing Olympics. I mean, that is a big promise to make, especially to Sasha Trusova, whose body is taken in the most, and with the Tutberidze method, where literally the method is, let's work you till your bones fuse with each other or break, and then we're gonna replace you. Of course, they don't say it like that, but we got eyes. We can see. History is real. So, I don't know what kind of promises they made, but they took her back. And if she stays there to train and won't go abroad or end her career because of injuries, she does not take care of herself at all, which worries me because, as we just talked about, she's back to training. And I really don't think that she's taking care of herself, and I don't think she's in an environment that puts kids' health and bodies first. I mean, did we just forget that we saw Daria Uzushova literally break in front of us? And that is the first time in Tutberidze's history, short history, that we've seen that happen to a girl in what is supposed to be the peak year of the Tutberidze girls, 15, and Trusova's 18, and she has that injury, and the Olympics hopefully won't get postponed, but if they do, it's a lot to take in anyways. Still, it remains surprising for me when Tutberidze humiliated Tatiana Tarasova 2 years ago, and my husband stood up for her openly and was not afraid of anyone. Apart from him, none of the coaches stood up for her, except for Yagurin, who she was a coach for. And then Zhenya, her husband, Evgeny Plushenko. Returning to Trusova, I imagine the reporter being like, okay, let's dial it back a bit. Returning to Trusova, why did the breakup happen? And Yana responds, I repeat, once again, if Sasha Trusova had not come to Evgeny, she would have gone to another coach anyways. Moreover, she wouldn't have returned to Tutberidze even now. It's just that those coaches to whom she wanted to go abroad were ready to take her only in collaboration with Evgeny Plushenko. So saying that they would only do in collaboration with Evgeny Plushenko in the middle of a pandemic, like, is that what they mean? Like they were going to coach her through FaceTime while Evgeny coached her in real time? Because this happened during the pandemic, so I don't know. That sounds like she's trying to oversell her husband, but who knows. And then the rumored Raf is mentioned by the reporter, says, do you mean Rafael Artunian? And Yana says, I will not say. The decision to end the cooperation was mutual. It was not only Sasha's decision, but also Evgeny's. Could not work with Sasha according to his own system. Let me put it this way. We are excellent relations with Sasha and her parents. Finally, the parents get mentioned. We have a contract for a show that she has to skate to. She is super talented and very hardworking girl, and figure skating is her whole life. I only know one such person on this planet among all the skaters. This is our beloved Yuzuru Hanyu. That's all. Honestly, it scares me how much Sasha is doing for figure skating and sacrificing, and definitely is her whole world. So I hope that whatever her goal is met, and she's not destroyed emotionally by whatever the result of this mess is. This Olympics is going to be so high pressure for me. I mean, for everybody, but also for me. Like, I'm really worried about all these kids' mental health. I need Evgenia to really talk to Sasha about, what could happen, because I don't see At this point, I feel like nothing can stop Camila from getting the gold, and I feel like Sasha Trusova might not understand that. Unless, a global pandemic, who knows, whatever. Evgenia and her team still treat Sasha and Aliona very warmly. You need to understand that Aliona left because Evgenia did not train her. Sergei Rosa noted, who did not have his own team. You can ask Aliona herself about this. How much Evgenia trained her? Why is no one ever asked about this? Ask, and everything will fall into place. Evgenia helped in training only at the beginning. Then he asked her children's coach, Elena Zhugin, to help, since Sergei could not cope. With her, Aliona learned all the triples and only then went to Tutberidze. By the way, she helped Aliona for absolutely nothing, free of charge, as much as she could. This was twice a week as she coaches her groups elsewhere. An amazing woman. And although Sasha is super talented and hard worker, she has character, which is something I honestly was expecting more for Kostornaia, but I guess because they didn't even deal with Kostornaia, there's not much to say about her character. But saying that Trusova has character, I mean, we know she's fiery on the ice, but when she's with Tutberidze, I feel like she's very much yes ma'am. Like, she's very much like, if you say jump, you'll ask how high. Like, I did not expect her to have. I guess if the results are not coming in, she'll have character, and being trained your whole life by one system, which works so well, and then it doesn't, and then it starts breaking you, I guess must have messed her up, and seeing that things were not kind of resulting the way she'd hoped for maybe made her get more character in terms of defying the coach, and also having her request met. She got it. Guys, I'm forgetting. Like, every time I remember something from Angel Plushenko, like, I lose my mind. She got free housing. I forgot that she was on a campus and she got free housing. Like, of course she felt like she could be more demanding at Angel Plushenko. Anyways, if she had followed Mission's system according to which Evgenia works, she would have been world champion. She came to the world championship with 5 quads and showed them in training, all 5. The whole world saw it, which I might have to look into that. But I don't think there were any fan cams from practice from the world because of COVID, but we'll see. As recently as she showed them at test skates, but she got used to a different system and did not accept many of the advice. Yes, Evgenia is a beginner coach. Everyone starts somewhere. Tatiana Tarasova, Alexei Mishin also once started, and Eteri Georgievna. How else? If we were talking about Yagudin, then he came to Tarasova from Mission with all quads, being a world champ. Did she raise him? He was brought up by Alexei Mishin. If you don't know, Yagudin, who is Lushenko's rival, was actually his teammate, his peer, his training mate with Mishin. And then when he did not get the gold medal in a very, Medvedeva way, he went to another camp to get that gold medal. And he went to Tarasova, and that's how he ended up getting it in 2002, I believe. Evgenia and I respect Tatiana Tarasova. She is a superwoman and a figure skating legend, but I don't understand why it's necessary to touch me and my son. Mama Bear is out. She can talk about Evgenia as much as she wants, but talk about it. But talk like that about a child who watches TV and the internet and lives in a society where they will definitely tell or show him about it. Look, the great coach says about an 8-year-old boy that there is no future in sports. You can talk about this at an age of 12. Like, yo, Russians are crazy. You can talk about this at the age of 12, but not 8. I do not think this is right. Moreover, as I understand it, our story is the only thing that was quoted by all the media, and this was the main announcement in the teaser of the program. And questions about us were a condition of the producers of this program in order to create a resonance. The interviewer says, "Are you sure?" Yana Rudkovskaya says, "Yes, because nobody is interested in listening about Leshak." Whatever, they're talking now about not collaborating with the program. And she ends by saying, "We are happy for Tatiana Tarasova, and we wish her good health and do not have any grievances." And ladies and gentlemen, if that is not another piece of evidence to show that Russian figure skating is a gift that keeps on giving. A gift now in the holidays. I do not know what else it can be. Very quickly, what did we learn? 1, we learned basically confirmed facts that Trusova was definitely thinking of leaving Tutberidze no matter what. Body was probably starting to break down. I mean, only just now did she have an injury that is severe enough to get off the ice. And we all know that apparently no injury is severe enough to get you off the ice until you literally can't walk. We literally saw it happen with Daria. Point is that Trusova found herself with a tough choice where she says, I just have to leave to survive, which is the same thing that Medvedeva did after the Olympics, because for her it wasn't just, physical. Her spine was literally infusing in a way where she couldn't turn left, guys. Anyways, she was also dealing with mental, and all these girls are also dealing with mental. So Trusova said, I have to go, I need to survive. And she went and that didn't work out. And now she had to come back, and then Kostornaia going to Tushenko kind of put, the last nail on the coffin there for Trusova's plan. And I think that's why it got her so mad, because we really could have had it all, I guess. I still don't exactly know why Kostornaia left. I think it was mainly because of Sergei Rosanov, hopefully for, the correct reasons. But maybe Kostornaia also saw what was in her future, which was more injuries. Still to this day, everybody keeps dropping like flies. Her back was so injured. Her back is probably infusing in the same way that Medvedeva is. I really can't. This interview gave us everything, but it also confirmed that this sport will be the death of me, because all these kids are putting their life on the line. And I'm not joking when they say their life. They're putting their freaking life on the line to get this medal. A medal that keeps dangling in their face like a carrot, because we don't even know if there's a set date. Omicron and everything in the world is just messing all of us up. And if you're still interested in what I think about the Medvedeva interview, stick around, because that's the original video I recorded. So here you go. Well, this is just a short little video because the love of my life, the one and only Evgenia Medvedeva, did a couple of interviews, one that a lot of people are talking about and another one that not so many people are talking about, but I think we still need to highlight given the situation of the Tutberidze girls at this moment. And the main thing that I keep getting tagged in and asked about and DM'd about is that Evgenia Medvedeva announced her retirement. She announced that she has decided to put an end to her sports career, but I thought she did already. Am I crazy? I think she says she hasn't announced anything official, but that for now she's done with competitions. I'm pretty sure she said that at some other interview, magazine, situation moment. And I remember saying that I still had faith that she was going to show us Alegria and Masquerade. And I was right. She did it at a gala. I thought it was going to be at a competition later this year, but now everything is up in the air. Again, it feels like we're going back into phase 1 of COVID with Omicron and stuff. So I think there really is no other option for her than to put her own happiness first and end her career, because like she said, it's not the same sport anymore. It's a completely different ball game. And the only thing that she would be bringing, if I'm being honest, to competition would be the love of the fans. Like, it wouldn't be worth it. And she's already skating so much. It's not like we've lost her. She's so much in the media and on the ice and giving us what we need. Miss Girl keeps us fed. Like, I saw a tweet the other day that I was like, who would have thought that in 2021 season, the happiest fans would be the Medvedeva fans, the medal bots? And that is correct. And I think it's because we see just how happy she is. So you know what? Let's just go to the biggest discussion points of both interviews. In the interview that everyone's talking about, where she says she announced her retirement, is an interview that she did with her partner in Ice Age, which is the figure skating show that she's at, which I'm thinking of doing like a series reacting to that on Patreon. We'll see if I do that. And I don't really know what the question was. Oh, I do. It was, what can influence my decision to put an end to my career? She says, to be honest, probably nothing. I really hate it. You come down, you sit down, and you say, I have decided to put an end to my career. And it all starts. How come? How dare you? You understand nothing. I have seen it too many times, and I've never liked it. I felt offended for an athlete because the fans start to attack. And the fans, I love you all really much, but there are painful perceptions of all of my personal decisions. My health has contributed a lot into it. I have a problem with my back, and it turned out that I had this problem back at the Olympics, and I had a long rehabilitation afterwards. My back doesn't turn to one side. Do you hear that? Her back doesn't turn to one side. The Salchow jump is the only jump I can perform normally and painlessly. Probably a toe loop too, but not always. And I can no longer jump lutzes and flips. It is physically not possible. I would really love to do these jumps very much, but she just can't. This was the answer. This was the words that marked everything on Twitter and made everybody explode. Because not only is she confirming that she decided to put an end to her competition career, for some reason I do believe she had said before, and I delusionally said, I think we'll see her again because she needs to show us Masquerade and Alegria. I'm still waiting on Masquerade. I'm not letting you go, Zhenya. I'm waiting on Masquerade because that step sequence, beautiful. How are my favorite programs the one that she performed once at Test Gates? I don't understand. But then the other thing that a lot of people, took from this interview is that she's literally saying that her back, because of the Atari technique and because of the intensity of the Tutberidze camp and the way they trained for so young girls and so intensely, fucked up her back so bad that she can't turn one way. And there are certain jumps she can't do anymore. And she had all these problems at the Olympics, which, mind you, she was already skating with a broken foot, fractured pieces of bones in her foot. Like, These words, sparked a reaction, not just because she's once again being frank about her words, which we have not forgotten that Ms. Terry Tutberidze herself has not liked a single post of Evgenia Medvedeva since she did the original explosive interview. Once again, Evgenia does not hold back her word. She is a realist, and she's been through it. Like, it's not like she's not talking about something she doesn't know. And given the situation of how the Tutberidze girls seem to be falling like flies, so these words ignited the feelings that have always been there, which is, if it's preventable, is it worth it? You know what I mean? Like, is the coaching staff, is the coaching team trying their best to make sure that these young girls' bodies are not ruined for life? This is what I was saying before in my other videos and have been saying for a year, that these injuries, it's not like, yes, do it all for the goal lasts forever. You know what else will last forever? These injuries. She can't turn her back to one side. Like, that is insane. Which leads us to the second question, which was, would you repeat the Olympics, even if it ended in the same way? This was a great disappointment. They started talking about the Olympics because Zhenya said that the Olympics was a magical moment she would love to relive. And she says, it was a strong disappointment, but I don't care. It was still very cool to me. And when I was skating the free program, the Anna Karenina program, I had never felt such freedom. This is probably the state of zen that every athlete strives for, but not everyone achieves. I skated automatically for these 4 minutes and thought not about the program, not about the movements, but simply about life. When I was in the middle of the step sequence, I looked around and I asked myself, do you understand that you're at the Olympics? And I said, yes. Such a small interview with myself, but the Olympics are tough and scary and the whole world is watching. Are you scared? Not at all. And if in the second half you just lie down and wipe the ice instead of the resurfer, I said I don't care. And at that moment I was the happiest as an athlete. Not as a human being, but as an athlete. Did you hear that? Did you read between the lines? Not as a human being, but as an athlete. I reached this peak, like in the movie Black Swan, dance and die. It was about the same. I can't say that it was the best evening, but these were the best 4 minutes of my life for sure. There was another question, which was, how long did it take you after the Olympics to leave it behind, to stop feeling like that silver medal was a disappointment? And she says 3.5 years. That was the other day, girl. Like, the Olympics were 2018. And she says, Danya, her partner in Ice Age, liberated me. I stopped obsessing about everything. I still worry about things. I'm wildly nutty, but I let go when I saw that figure skating was completely different. The sport I was in is completely different. The setting, the people, the elements, the people are completely different. I realized that the sport would never return. That time was the coolest for me. I really liked the Olympics. Everything after that was difficult. But let's skip that topic. Oh, we know that everything after the Olympics, specifically for her, was very intense. But at the Olympics, in the Olympic Village, you felt like you won life. You asked yourself, do you want to come back and repeat the Olympics? I would say yes. It was really cool. So this is the little section of this interview that got the internet on fire. She just hits on the same point she's been hitting on since Tutberidze stopped liking her Instagram post, which is that it's not sustainable. You do put your body through a point where not just physically, but also mentally, you just can't do it after a certain period unless you're willing to sacrifice a part of yourself as a human being. Not as an athlete. She was very happy as an athlete. As a human being, not so much. And when that athlete part also fell through and she got that silver, that's when she had to, get the hell out of there and go to Brian Orser, because she literally was going to just extinguish herself as a person if she stayed at Tutberidze camp, because mentally and physically she couldn't get through it. And even then, when she went to Canada, we all know what happened. So it didn't really help her mental health, after the whole country turned against her. Or at least it felt like that for her. But anyways, I'm not going to review what happened, we all know. And Zhenya herself said, let's skip the topic. Then, she had an interview with the Olympic Channel, which I think should be talked about more. So let's. This was actually in English. And she talks about how Russian figure skating is at the highest level we've ever seen in history. And all the girls are doing crazy things on the ice, which she would have never even imagined for herself. But the main thing that I think is noticeable is that she talks about how happy she is now in her life. She says, she feels finally interested in her own life. She feels like she can try so many things. She was first, afraid of a situation where there'd be no competitions, no practices, because you gotta understand, that's been her whole personality. She's Evgenia Medvedeva, who is she without competitive ice? She was Miss Stability. She was the queen of the ice for a good 2 years. But now it feels amazing, and she's so happy to just kind of be where she is, which is vibing. I don't know how else to put it. She realized that she can be a figure skater and a human too. I think that's what she was trying to get at, because she is definitely someone who's never gonna leave the sport. I do believe she's gonna start coaching, and if she does coach at Team Tutberidze, honestly, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do because the drama there is just going to be too intense. Is she going to coach alongside Tuperice? Is she going to coach the junior babies? Is she going to have to freaking work alongside Danielle Gleichenhaus? I cannot take it. I do not. I can't. I won't. I shan't. Want to imagine that? And if she does go somewhere else, oof. That will be even crazier because we all know that Tutberidze will not shy away from the press if that does happen. But I'm really happy that Evgenia not only has kind of found herself but flourished. She really is living her best life. Like, she's doing TikToks, she's like dressing up like she's feeling herself, she is doing interviews, she's everywhere. The best influencer life that she can be. And I think that's exactly what she wanted to do. So we started talking about Evgenia and how her journey relates to these girls. And what I'm starting to realize is that maybe Medvedeva had it the best, which is weird to say because these girls today, Trusova, Kostornaia, even Tuktamisheva, are really going through it in a more amplified manner. Like, they have more people watching them, and on top of that, there's more questions around them. There's more instability, there's more competition. Everything is just truly times 10. And yeah, this was kind of a rant video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, shout out to Natalia, Leslie, Timothy, Scotty, Jordan, Antonio Mansaga, Maria, and yes, and this time is for real. I don't know what's going on, but a new VIP every video it seems. Except for the last one, I was mistaken. But Johan. Hello, Johan. Thank you for supporting me from Sweden. Let me make sure I got that correctly. Oh, he even says you pronounced it Yuan. Wait, it's pronounced Yuan from Sweden. So shout out to you. You won. Okay, if you want to support me, my Twitter, merch, and Patreon are all down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.